Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the Hudson Valley Squares. I guess we're going to call it Hudson Valley Squares Light today because, as you can see, all of the crew except for me are off concerting and recouping and have other things going on and working. So I decided to bring some friends tonight rather than not have a show at all. So we've got in the house tonight, we've got Jim Bacchi, former New Yorker, now living on the West Coast. We've got Rick LaBonte from up in Canada. You've seen him on all sorts of shows here on the channel. And my fellow New Yorker, all the way from Long Island, Jack Toledano. You've seen Jack here before as well. So greetings, fellas. How are you? Thanks for helping out tonight at a night where I kind of had nobody. So.
Well, we got you back.
Yeah, you got us. Hey, Jack, what part of Long Island are you from?
I'm in Mid-Nassau County.
Okay.
Lower Mid-Nassau County. So I'm actually right off the Wantaw Parkway. I'm about a 10-minute drive from Jones Beach Theater. We actually, Pete and I and a few other friends years ago, we had a concert down at Jones Beach. So we congregated in my backyard, had a barbecue and some beers, and literally 10 minutes down the Wantaw, or the Wantag, as non-Long Islanders call it. But also, just to clarify, a little known fact, I used to live in the Hudson Valley also. Pete will remember.
Yep.
In around 1990 to 1994, I lived in Peekskill, New York, which is right near the Bear Mountain Bridge. And both my children were born at Peekskill Hospital. So
Nice.
Plus, Jack and I are both SUNY New Paltz graduates. So
right.
There's that too.
Yeah, Jack, I'm from Huntington. I grew up in Huntington, so
Okay,
I
that's
lived in Long
cool.
Island till I was 31. So
Very
I'm a
nice.
Long Island boy, really, but I've been living here for.
So when you were living in Huntington, did they have the Paramount back then?
No, actually, the Paramount was a theater in my high school days. Was called the Balcony Theater. They closed off the bottom part of the theater. I don't know what they made out of it, but they showed movies in the balcony section. They put a screen up there, and they would show Friday night movies, Frank Zappa, 200 Motels, The Groove Tube, The Song Remains the Same. And we would go up there and smoke pot and watch movies. Yeah, it was the Balcony Theater. Yeah. And and it's still, I was like, oh my God, it's the Paramount is the balcony. It's, during my high school years, that's what we would do on Fridays. We go there because they always had The Song Remains the Same and the Zappa movies and Eraserhead I saw there. Like,
that's cool.
Cool stuff,
Well, one of the groups on my hate list, I went and saw there. I didn't see them, but I saw a cover band of them, but we'll get into that. But saw many shows there in the last 2-3 years. It's a great place.
I haven't been to that theater in a long time.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah,
cool little town. Huntington's a nice little town.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Little Vincent's Pizza across the street. Yeah.
Is that still there, Jack?
Oh yeah.
I'm
yes,
not
it is.
Sure, but
it is.
Actually, a former boss of mine, her family owned an Irish restaurant right across the street from the Paramount. The name escapes me.
And I've been to that place.
Yes.
It's an Irish pub, right? You literally, yep, yeah, I've been there.
Right.
But it's been a million years. I haven't been
but
there
the name escapes me.
Late 80s. Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah. So cool. See, Rick, see what you're missing in New York?
You guys just drive my downtown. We had a place just like that. It's called the Palace Theater. And we watched all the movies, the Kids All Right movie, The Song Remains the Same. And there was all the pizza joint people that make the gyros and the donairs and all the way around the theater. So kind of just drive a little bit home, actually.
There you go.
Yep.
Cool. So we actually do have a topic tonight, everybody. So what we're doing, we're kind of sort of revisiting a topic that we sort of touched on way back when, probably I'm going to say at least 2 years ago here on the channel, but we're going to do it with a slightly different twist. So we're going to talk about first, we're going to talk about those overplayed radio hits that we've heard a million times, but we still really like a lot. And we don't turn off the radio or turn off whatever, whenever they come on, whether it's a CD or a satellite or whatever, when these songs come on, we're like, God, I've heard this a million times, but I still really dig it a lot. So we're each going to talk about 5 of those. And then on the flip side, those songs that we've heard a million times and we never need to hear again. So let's get the positive stuff out of the way first, and then we'll dig in with the vitriol at the end. So we're gonna go Jack, Rick, Jim, and myself, and go round and round till we get to our number ones on each, and then we'll start all over again. So Jack, your first song you still really dig a lot, even though you've heard it a million.
Okay. So yes, songs that we still love to hear. So I tried to pick songs that I've never talked about on the show before. Well, unfortunately, there's one that I have, but I tried to, be fresh with the material. So number 5, and I'm sure we could all relate to this. I'm sure we've all been in work situations where we just couldn't stand it. Fortunately, I'm in a good work situation now, but there have been situations where I hated it, and this song would always like play in the back of my head. The Animals, We Got to Get Out of This Place. Yeah, great song. I heard it on my Spotify today. So that's one. Another one is I see Jim, you have a ton of guitars behind you. Pete's a guitarist. I have this. If you can see, there's an acoustic right behind me. This song I learned a little while ago, but it's probably one of the most simple songs. It's mostly A chords with some G and D in the chorus, but I love it. Its message. AC/DC, It's a Long Way to the Top, if you want to rock and roll. Great song. Absolutely love it. Number 3 is a song that never gets old for me. I loved it ever since the first time I heard it on my mother's AM radio in her Buick, when she was driving me to school. Life's been good to me so far. Joe Walsh. I mean,
I listened to Joe Walsh at the gym today, as a matter of fact.
Well, I'm sorry?
I said I was just listening to Joe Walsh at the gym today.
I love at the very end where he's like, here comes a flock of wham-whams. that gets me every time. But Maserati doing 185, so on and so forth. Okay, on to number 2. I'm not a huge fan of Queen, but this song always gets me. They decided back in the 70s to make an operatic song, Bohemian Rhapsody. Great song. I can still to this day see the guys, bopping their heads back and forth in Wayne's World. And,
Party time.
Yeah. Great song. I could just hear the lyrics in my sleep. I see a little silhouette of a man. Come on, everybody.
We all know it. Wait, gotta move.
I know Rick's a singer. I was hoping he jumped in.
Scaramouche.
And okay, my number 1 is a song by The Who. Who's Next? A song where he says, "Meet the old boss, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Won't get fooled again." Yep. Can't get enough of that song.
Nice.
And you noticed I stayed away from most of my favorite groups on this list, just to, give it something a little different. So that's my 5.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, Rick.
I'm gonna go the same path, Jack. I'm gonna try to bring up some other name that I don't usually suspect, but I'm gonna go as far as basically childhood memory, because if the music still can be as feeling as fresh as when you heard it that day, that means, it's timeless for me. And these songs are like that. And they all carry a little bit of a childhood memory, because you know how you listen to some music and it take you back to your time and place when you first heard it, and you can almost remember when the first time you discovered it, something like that. These songs are kind of like that. But even when I'm in my car or I'm somewhere, I listen to the entire song. And I've heard it for death. I could shut it off and continue in my head the real time of that song. But I'd be the guy that's driving in the car, and I'll pull up to the driveway. Do I shut off my car and open the door yet? No, I have to wait till the song completely over. These are the type of songs I'm picking about. And I'm going as far as maybe when I was 11, 1981, when I used to go roller skate, because that was a big thing to go roller skating in an arena where they crank out tunes. Jukebox Hero from Fordner. And every time I still hear that in my head, that whole that drama of the building it up, leaning against the wall to hear that guitar, and so this song still gets to me till to this day. And we were talking.
Don't put that CD away yet, by the way.
Pardon me?
I said, don't put that CD away yet, by the way.
Okay, I'll keep it nearby. But it's one of those songs that if you went to a Foreigner concert, you'd be kind of disappointed if you didn't hear it. And I'm the kind of guy that goes to shows that like the deep cuts. I go, I hope they played something different because I see them a lot. But as much as I've seen Foreigner, it would kind of break my heart if I didn't hear Jukebox Hero because it's such an important song to me, and for the dramatic of the way the song is. The next would be because she's my favorite female rocker. Okay, and I'm talking Ann Wilson, and it could have been any one of these two songs, but just the way her voice is so sexy, I still get shingle. I feel it when I the first time I heard it, and I know how old I am comparing how the first time I heard it. But Crazy on You on Heart, I love it so much. I mean, I never interrupt it. I could be in the middle of it could be in the beginning and doing that little acoustic piece, and I go, okay, I'm sitting here in the car to listen to the whole thing. I really like that song a lot.
That should have been on my list, Rick, for sure. I love it.
There's a certain thing about certain people's voices that really gets you and it hits you right hard, and that voice does it to me.
And she's still so great.
And yes, and I've seen him many times. I got a lot of, I collected the whole career, but this still never gets old to me. And you think it would, because you know how many times we've heard this over and over. And so I know you know what I'm talking about. Another one comes to mind is, and I heard it when I was a kid, and still to this day, I know it's an important song for if you go see an evening of this artist I'm about to introduce. You're expected to hear this tune, but I never get sick of it. And it's probably the most played tune to death on radio, and Santana, Black Magic Woman. I still love it. I still get I know a note for note from the guitar, and I still feel it, and I have to, I'm expected to hear that song every time I go see him. And of course, the next two are big important because they're like big part of my musical listening when I was a kid, and I put a lot of hours in these bands. And still to this day, even though this was the introduction to this band, I still feel supercharged when I hear the song Spirit of Radio from Rush. I still get pumped, and all the spots where they do the little bit of the reggae and they counter hall, and I want to cheer just like I do in the concert every time I see them do that. I feel so young when I listen to this. I'm in just a little quick potion of the youth, of the fountain of youth or something when you listen to this, because I feel like a kid again. And I'm pretty sure I heard this with the the Walkman or the roller skate many
Rick,
times.
could I just break in there for a second?
Yeah, sure, brother.
Rush. So anybody watch any playoff baseball today? Okay. In any event, so it was the Milwaukee Brewers and the Atlanta Braves. So they were on, and must have been like 6th to 7th inning, and I'm watching the game, and all of a sudden the organist starts playing Subdivisions.
Nice.
It's the coolest thing. Yeah, right in the middle of it. Down
I thought I saw a headline of that somewhere today. Yeah.
Well, did you guys see the marching band thing, the Ohio State marching band thing?
That's what I saw. That's what I read.
That was, if you watch that, is the most incredible thing you'll ever see. Like, they make all these formations of like someone playing drums and a guitar, and they move. It's the most, it's incredible. And they did all these Rush songs.
Really? Like a medley or something?
Yeah, it's all over. Like, people, about 100 people tagged me when they put it up, because they know how much I like Rush. If you guys go look for it on Facebook, it's amazing. Yeah,
I'm gonna. That's awesome.
I saw the headline. I just didn't watch the video.
Yeah, I watched the video. It's so unbelievable. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, and Jack, that's cool. I wonder how many people picked that up. That was a Rush tune. Well, my last one. It's no surprise anybody knows how deep this band is in my DNA, I would say. I would think that this song still moved me. And I'm picking it because it's got to be an overplayed song. People might describe it being because there's other songs that do that. Stargazer from Rainbow and other, but they're not popular like the one I'm about to mention, and that is Kashmir from Led Zeppelin. I mean, I want them to play that when they're putting my ashes somewhere or I'm being cremated. They gotta play the tune because I heard it forever, almost every big moment in my life. If I want to chill before a show and get inspired, but save your voice, I put on stuff like this, and just to get me in the mood to go out there and do my thing. So yeah, Led Zeppelin, Kashmir, never get old. Not for me.
Cool.
Very
All right,
nice.
Jim, what do you got?
Okay. This is hard to pick just 5 because there are a lot of really popular songs that I still really love. And I'll maybe go through them later. But my number 5 is unfortunately was ruined by a Saturday Night Live, albeit very funny Saturday Night Live skit. And of course, I'm talking about the More Cowbell skit. Because now when you post that song, if you're saying anything about that song, everybody's like, more cowbell. But Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult.
Yep.
I remember, talking about roller skating. I remember ice skating when I was like 13. We'd all go ice skating because we played ice hockey. We'd all skate. They'd have a free skate on Friday nights. And there was a band there. I think I knew the guy that was in the band too. And they used to play that song. And, ever since it came out, it's just been all over the radio. And Burning for You. But for some reason, Don't Fear the Reaper, I get the warm fuzzies from more. And I still, every time I hear it, like Rick said, I sit and I if the car's, if I get to where I'm going, I just wait. Because that guitar solo is one of the most incredible, sections. It's just like, wow, let's write the coolest, tour de force thing and put it in the middle of the song. It has nothing to do with the rest of the song.
Right on.
Make it out of it beautifully and just the harmonies. And it's all just so amazing. So that's my number 5. Don't Fear the Reaper, Blue Oyster Cult.
Great choice.
Hi, Danny Miranda. I'm friends with the bass player who plays now in Blue Oyster Cult. We used to jam when I was a kid. So
He gave me a guitar pick.
yeah, he's a super nice guy. He's
Great
from
guy.
Ireland. I used to jam with him when I was a kid.
Oh, cool.
Been inviting me out to the shows. So yeah, pretty cool. So Danny Miranda, what's up, buddy? So my number 4, I had a time where I would turn it off. If it was on the radio, I turned it off because I just get like, oh God, enough with this. But in the last 5 years, and especially the last 2 years, it's kind of changed direction again because I was so obsessed with it and this band. And that is Tom Sawyer by Rush. I know it is the most played out song ever. And a lot of people, I know you, Pete, that's one of the ones you said you don't need to hear it ever again. Given the situation with Neil passing away, and it's one of his best drum performances.
Without a doubt, yeah.
So, the air drumming. And so now when it's on, and actually I use it when I trying out a piece of stereo equipment, it's my test song because that record is produced so perfectly. When I get a new stereo or a car or whatever or something, or someone gets a new piece of gear, I'm like, you got to give it the Tom Sawyer test. Got to play Tom Sawyer through it because it is a perfect recording. The low end, the punch of the kick drum, the high end is really
sonically.
Yeah, it's sonically perfect. So Tom Sawyer is my number 4. And for a while it was like I would hear on the radio, I'm like, turn it off. But again, I came back around. So
I do the YYZ test. That's what I do.
Okay, that's a good one too. There's no vocals on that though, but same album.
The bass, it's to die for.
Yeah, one of the best bass recorded bass sounds ever, and drum sounds, I think. Yeah. So, yeah. So my number 3 is super epic FM rock radio track from the mid 70s. Do You Feel Like We Do by Peter Frampton.
Good song.
All 11 minutes of it or whatever.
I was just going to say the long version, right?
The long version, the talk box, the whole thing. Trying to figure out what he's saying with the talk box. Like I know most of it.
You're all right.
So amazing, right? And yeah, I mean, they played that to death on rock radio, but I do not care if it's on. I'm listening to it. if I'm just driving in my car, I'll put in the CD and listen to the damn thing. I still love it so much. So that's number 3. My number 2 is a song, no matter how many times it's on, I fucking turn it up. I love it so much. And that's Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas. Cannot get enough of that song. Again, many different parts, perfectly recorded, a beautiful song all through and through. So that's my number 2. And my number 1 is, I would say, the whole album, but the most played out song, they're all hits. I'll go More Than a Feeling by Boston, but really the whole album, any song you pick from, it's a hit, and it's the perfect album. And anytime it comes on, you have to turn it up. So those are my 5.
Cool.
I agree with all 5 of those. Same way. I'm not sick of them yet. None of those songs.
Oh,
All right, good choices. Yes, I actually have a couple of them on my list too, but I have a couple extras, so I'm wondering if I might. Let's see what we got here. Well, my first one coming in number 5. Hey, hey, mom, I said to me, you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. I love Black Dog. Still, I've heard it a million times, and man, I love the riff. I love the vocal. I love all the little changes they do. I love the guitar solo. It's just, it's a great Led Zeppelin track.
Hey,
so,
Pete, can you actually match when they come in after the vocal? I still can't. Sometimes they wait, sometimes they go right in. It's like you try to play air drum to it, and you can't, because it's like,
no matter how many times you've heard it, right? Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
They don't play to a click track. It's all.
No, it's free form.
It's all from the heart.
Good one.
Yep.
Good one.
So that's number 5. Let's see. Number 4, I'm gonna go Fleetwood Mac from the Rumors album, Go Your Own Way. I mean, vocally, it's such a great song. I love, they're all singing in that. And I love Lindsay's guitar solo so much in that song. And, it's not a long song at all. I mean, it's like one of those songs that, like, you've heard it a million times, but like by the time it's done, you're like, oh shit, it's done already. Can we hear it again? And I just, it's always been like my favorite Fleetwood Mac song. It's my favorite song off that album. And, as much as a lot of that album has been overplayed to death over the years, I can still listen to most of them. I can still put on Rumors, like the whole album. It's kind of like the whole first Boston album. You've heard all these songs a trillion times, but it still sounds really good to my ear.
Good.
Yeah.
And that song is like a 3 minute of happiness. You get a dose of,
right. And that's the point, Rick. It's so quick. It's not a long. It's only it's barely over 3 minutes long, and much happens in that time.
That's
really, really cool.
I love the way Mick Fleetwood kind of reverses the beat in those verses. A very odd kind of drum beat he's doing. Super cool. Yeah.
It's Shane is my favorite from that album.
Yeah, me too.
That's my favorite. Especially that. Yeah,
that's a great one. Yeah.
I love that.
The whole album is so good.
It is.
So my number 3 is Blue Collar Man by Styx.
Nice.
Love it. Oh, so good. So good. I'm a massive Tommy Shaw fan. And I love like all those songs that he like wrote and sang back in the day. And I love Dennis's stuff too. And I love JY's stuff too. But there's something about a lot of those Tommy Shaw songs. And I think that song just like has everything that was so good about Styx. It's got loads of hooks, lots of guitars, that wonderful organ, and just so good. And I'd never tire of it. Never ever tire of it. And that was one, at least around here anyway. I mean, you fellow New Yorkers know any rock radio station played that, and Renegade, and Come Sail Away. I mean, those are the songs you heard all the time.
Yes.
And
from Detroit, same thing.
Right? I don't tire of any of them, to be honest with you.
And you had the singer sing it. You had Dennis DeYoung sing it to you on your show.
Yes.
So
that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was awesome. Yes, it was.
That was pretty cool.
Well, I saw about the first 45 minutes of that, and I think you had like 2 hours of total time between the.
Oh yeah, he gave me 2 hours, man. It was great.
What the hell did you guys talk about in 2 hours?
Oh, believe me, Dennis DeYoung knows how to talk. We that went by so quickly,
and he covered a lot of things, like so much.
He did.
It was great. I loved it.
He was one of my all-time best guests I ever had on this channel.
That's
He was
cool.
amazing.
Yep.
I never expected that.
Amazing interview.
Yeah. He originally, that was supposed to be a 30 minutes.
When I did that poll, what was your favorite interview? That was one of my favorite right there.
Yeah.
Dennis,
Yeah, it was
The great
good.
thing about that one is, Pete, you didn't really have to do anything. All you had to do
No.
was like serve up a question, and you got like 20 minutes of awesome rebuttal.
Yeah. Like,
right on.
I read one of my questions. I sat there and listened and laughed. That was it. So
That's your personality. Too.
When
You
I
made
saw
it
you
so
became the
palpable.
basically,
interviewee.
it was
Yeah.
storytelling hour. That's what it was.
Yeah,
That's what it
that
was.
was great.
And the funny thing, here's the funny thing about that whole thing. He, like I said, it was only supposed to be 30 minutes. And like we were already an hour into it. And like you could hear his like phone like buzzing over on the side. He was ignoring it. So finally at one point he goes, he takes his phone, he looks at the time, he goes, "Ah, shit, I really have to take this call." And I was like, but like I had hardly gotten to like half the questions, and he was so into talking. He goes, "I'll tell you what." He goes, "Are you around in 30 minutes?" I'm like, "Sure." He goes, "How about I do this other interview and I'll keep it to 30 minutes and we'll come back and we'll do part 2 of this." And I'm like, "Sure." And like literally like 31 minutes later, he was already buzzing me, ready to go.
That's
and
cool.
we went
That
like
was
another
amazing. I
45 minutes.
love that interview. Yeah.
That never
I
happens.
did too.
It never happens. I mean, most.
Hey, I went on and got his new album because of it. I didn't.
It's good.
Yeah, put it on the map.
Yeah. So,
But you made him
yeah.
feel so comfortable that he just let his heart out, and he talked about all the whatever he's seen on Facebook, social media. He wanted to attack some unfinished things that was needed to set, and I guess your comfort made him go there, and that testament to your ability to.
Yeah, it was cool. He was good. He busted my chops on a couple of times. And
Yeah, he was. I love when he's making fun of you for liking Prague.
yeah. Oh yeah. But
You
but
don't
you know,
like
the funny
Prague.
thing
You
was,
like that thing that sounds like Prague. It was really fun.
Oh yeah.
he watches the channel though, because he was quoting things I had said like a year or two ago
Wow.
on episodes. I'm like, dude, that's weird. You know all this stuff, right? So you're secretly watching, Dennis.
You're doing something right, Pete. Keep it up. You'll have a career.
That's it.
So all right. So where am I? Number 2. Number 2 for me is going to be "Carry On Wayward Son" by Kansas. Gotta be. I just listened to it a couple days ago, and I was like, oh,
It was right here, my pile.
so good, so good. And number 1, oh God. Well, Jim named them both. I'm gonna put a tie for number 1. "More Than a Feeling" and "Don't Fear the Reaper." That's what I had on my list. So yeah, they're both amazing.
Right on.
Yeah, it's just so good. And you know, it's funny. I love to hear "Don't Fear the Reaper" whenever I go to hear it, but you know what really annoys me is when you go to see Blue Oyster Cult and like 80% of the audience act like they don't know any of the other songs, and they wait till the end till "Don't Fear the Reaper" is played as the last song during the encore, and they go berserk and they go home. It's like they went to the show just to hear one song.
It's
Drives me
very
nuts.
annoying. I just experienced it. We had like these 4, like the secretary pool in front of us, like these girls, like these, girls, women my age, woo, and like they knew nothing. And then they played "Don't Fear the Reaper" and "Burn It For You," and they went crazy. And then they left after they heard them. They're like, "Good, go away," because they were standing up. I was like, "I'm old. I want to sit down. Don't stand up in front of me. Just go." We're all sitting there like, "Oh Jesus." So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm actually very surprised you picked "Carry On Wayward Son," being such a Prague guy and a Kansas guy, and knowing that you go very deep into their catalog.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like many other songs better, but I still think it's a great song. I still love it.
Same here.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
It's
great
in
thing
my
about that
pile.
song. It has all the elements of progressive. It's super hooky. It's still very progressive for a FM, an AM rock
Oh, yeah,
radio
big time.
signal. It's got
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah, just like I mentioned, Spirit of Radio. It's a fine example of everything loaded down in such a short time frame, but they made a package deal full of greatness.
Yeah.
And Kansas, that's a great example. And the vocals never get old to me.
Oh,
That vocal line is so
yeah.
powerful.
Classic Steve Walsh. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So now that we got the stuff we really like out of the way, how about the songs that we just never, ever, ever need to hear again? So, Jack, why don't you kick us off with your fun?
Okay. So I was on one of my many 4-hour drives upstate this weekend, and I happened to be listening to Channel 26 on Sirius XM, the classic vinyl, and this song came on. It's a song It's a song by the Beatles that famous concert above the building that they played like 4 or 5 songs and then the police chased them away. And this song, I'm sorry, my son loves it. I can't stand it. How can you write a song where they say "Don't Let Me Down" like 16, 20 times? Awful, awful. It kills me.
As all the Beatles fans start chiming in the comments as we speak.
Yeah, sacrilege.
I'm sorry. I mean, they're great and they're so innovative, but they missed it on that song. Sorry.
I will say, not one of their best songs.
No.
I disagree, but okay.
I like it. I think Billy Preston plays a mean keyboard.
You're right, Rick. That's the only part of that song that I like. Billy Preston does a great job on that album. I'm sorry, that song and the whole Let It Be album, actually.
He's a great musician.
Especially good on Get Back. But, yeah.
I forgive you, Jack.
Okay. All right. You're gonna hate me in a little while, Jim. I'm sorry, but we'll get there. Number 4, Rick, you could hold up that Foreigner CD.
Okay. Oh no, you hate it. I don't know if I want to live.
No, certain songs I love on that, but one song, it's like they tried to do a ballad. It was like their version of Beth by Peter Criss, Waiting for a Girl Like You. Lou Gramm even strains in that song, and I'm sorry, I can't get into that. For me, they're like very close to being like a power pop band, and having been used to songs like Feels Like the First Time, Double Vision, Hot Blooded, to go to that, I'm sorry, totally missed it.
It sold like a gazillion copies, but I agree with you. I never need to hear that one again either.
Yeah. Well, did you like it originally when you first heard it and it was brand new, or
no?
Okay.
I mean, Jukebox Hero's great, but
I like Urgent, but that's
Urgent's good. Yeah. Anything else on that album is good except that one. They could just draw a pencil line through it. Okay, the third one, and this is a surprise. So now Pete and I, back in 2016, we went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction at the Barclays in Brooklyn. And this band was one of the bands that were there. We mainly went to see Deep Purple in Chicago. But as a bonus, we got to see Steve Miller get inducted. But Cheap Trick, they were the first concert I ever went to, but I'm sorry, I've tired of them. And this particular song, Mother Told Me, Yes, She Told Me, I'd meet girls like you. I mean, come on, Rick Nielsen. These are some of the worst lyrics I've ever heard in my life.
Okay, now I take my forgiveness back.
Surrender?
I love Surrender.
One of the greatest rock and roll songs ever written.
I like Cheap Trick.
I'm sorry, but actually, there is one song on that album that's even worse, called Auf Wiedersehen. I don't know if you ever heard that one.
Yeah, it's not one of their better ones.
No, he does.
Surrender, man. Come on.
They're actually pretty good. They were pretty good for a while, but the lyrics don't do it for me. So Cheap Trick, Surrender was number 3. Number 2, and Pete knows my disdain for this band.
I know what's coming.
Well, originally it was going to be Don't Stop Believin', but then I heard another song within the last week that's actually even worse. Wheel in the sky keeps on turning.
Oh, come on, Jack. I was hoping you'd say like Open Arms. Wheel in the sky.
No.
Great.
Yeah,
I love that intro.
The way he enunciates the word turning. I mean, come on.
Who let this guy on the show?
Security!
Security!
Jim, you're going to hate me. Number 1.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned it.
Do it.
You mentioned it during your top 5, and I don't know if you saw my reaction. How do you play a song where it's the same 3 chords for like 5-6 minutes going with a little interlude of talk box? I'm talking about Do You Feel Like We Do? I'm sorry.
What about the piano solo? And what about how they bring the dynamic down and you can almost hear? I don't know. You can't.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to.
Right.
Got that guitar back there? I want to see you play it if it's that simple.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm a rhythm guy, so I can't play leads anyway. But it's those same.
Play the rhythm part then.
Okay, off
Not that
camera.
simple.
Yeah. Well, it's do. Yeah. But I'm sorry, that song just doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
And I had bought that album, and thinking I'd really like it because it got 10, 15 million sales. But after the first couple of songs, I had to sell it. So
Oh well.
I had that on cassette 2 times on different CDs. No, I like that song. I do.
well, that being said, I'm very curious to see what you guys' five those that we hate are.
Okay.
Well, Jack, I would agree with you, but then I would be wrong too. So there you go.
Sorry, Jim.
I digress.
Sorry, Jim, and the hundreds of thousands watching. So that's all right. We're all gonna piss off people on this one.
I guess I'm not gonna sleep tonight, huh?
Okay, so I'm not, like Pete knows me. I'm not one to throw tomatoes at anybody, but there are certain songs that got played, and I would skip it or walk away from it or turn the dial, and it's because it's been it wore out its welcome to some degree, right? And I'm talking about songs that that I was growing up with, and still to this day it hasn't changed. And I'm talking like Starship. We built the city on rock and roll. It was so repetitive. It used to get on my nerves, so I can't get a piece of it anymore. That's number 5. That used to get on my, especially when I knew where that band started out with Jane and Fight Your Way Back. They were really cool
That's
tunes.
a good song.
You know what I mean? And so when I heard that, I kind of never forgave them at that time. And I was one of those people that, at that time as a young listener, I just never gave them another chance. So every time I heard that song, it still feels the same way. It's like, why did you guys do that?
Rick, it's not their fault.
Okay.
Because that song was written by the Antichrist of hired songwriters, Diane.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Diane Warren's song. It's her first big hit.
Yeah, and everybody remember them as that. That's the problem. It bothered me to that end. You know what I mean?
Awful song. It's terrible.
Yeah. So that's one I could, and yet I hear it all the time on the radio. Classic rock. It's just sandwiched in.
Oh, they still play it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're still making money off of that song.
Yeah.
So they built some money out of that. The next one was during the 90s. There was a song, and because I also do DJ and I was playing bands and they would hear the music in between. And this band, this song really got on my nerves. And because I thought it was offensive at the time, and I know it probably written for the shock value, and it was a band called Ugly Kid Joe. And they had that song, I Hate Everything About You. Right. And it just, I mean, at first it was kind of funny. I thought it was like a poof, being comical, shock rock a little bit. It's probably like GNR's I Used to Love Her, but I Had to Kill Her kind of humor, I guess. And they were throwing that just to make it funny. But when that's your only hit besides a cover of Cat in the Cradle, and you're going to be remembered forever as somebody saying, I hate everything about you. And that bothered me, and especially when I used to get requests to play it. You get, no, I ain't doing that. Especially because I hate when he says sex is overrated. I disagree. And so there's a few things on that line I just can't support. So when I was a cover act, I said, I'm not doing that song. Because I got to feel it when I sing it, and I don't feel it, And I don't got to sit there insulting people all night. So that was one of the songs. I still don't forgive them for that. Every time I hear it, I forgive. And another one, it's a decent song when you play it with a band. And my guitar players, they sing it. And I actually will only play it if we're playing it and they're singing it. I don't like the original version. And that is from The Clash, Should I Stay or Should I Go? I heard it so much. And the whiny voice that he have, because I know it's from the era of punk. And don't get me wrong, it's fun to play. It's fun to watch people dance and hopping up and down because it, should I say it, should I go, brings up 2 different tempos. But I'm sick of the version from my DJ days where I played it so much that I don't want to hear it. But I don't mind playing it with the band if they want to rock it out. because they got a better singer. And that's pretty much what it is. I'm not knocking the Clash because I know they have that history significant, but I just saying that song, I can skip it every time I it comes on the radio and look for something else. And the last one, it's not a song I don't like. It's just sometimes it's hard for me to listen to a band that do not a very good cover of it. There are bands like, when you think about Van Halen doing, You Really Got Me, they brought it up. And, it like blew off the charts and made it better. It wasn't insulting that song. But when I hear a person just doing it to try to be cute or rock, cool, everybody done it to some degree. If you're thinking about, Hillary Duff does My Generation or Madonna doing American Pie. But this one comes from a rocker who I do respect as a character, Joan Jett. But I don't want to hear her do Dirty Deeds, Dunder Sheep, Like, AC/DC, my version, you know what I mean? Is when I hear AC/DC, and then when I hear her version going on, it's cool if I watch being an opening act, she playing it as a cover, but I don't want to hear that. And they play that a lot here on Detroit radio. Her version, I'd say, hey, AC/DC got a better version, and I never get sick of that version versus that one. So that one kind of gets on my nerves in a bit because, I just don't think it's a better version. That's basically come down to it.
I didn't even know she did that.
Yeah, they play quite a bit here down here.
He's made a
They don't
career out
play
of
here in
cover
LA,
songs.
so
Yeah, and so, AC/DC versus Joan Jett doing that
I
song.
vaguely remember it.
You get it.
Yeah,
So I like the song, it's just not the delivery.
right.
All right, Jim.
Oh, is that your 5, Rick?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
yeah, I'm with you on the Clash, and I'm not a Clash fan, but God, that was almost going to be on my list. But I made my list of more bands I generally liked and just got tired of some of the songs. Some of them, most of them are. But yeah, that should I say or should I go? Song drives me bananas. I'm not a fan of the Clash. Sorry.
I'm not either.
Martin would be giving me a hard time right now if he was here. Okay, so my number 5, a band I loved for 3 records, and then afterwards, no. And that's the stripper anthem of all stripper anthems, Pour Some Sugar on Me, from Def Leppard. God, I don't ever want to hear that song again. And I love, I was a big Def Leppard fan up until that. What was that? That was on Hysteria, right? Was that
Yes.
Hysteria? Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that song's terrible. God.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
I mean, I wish I wrote it because I'd be super rich right now.
You wouldn't be sitting here talking to us, right?
Right. Well, I might, but
But Jim, that would be one of those situations where the 4 secretaries or women in front of you would,
oh my God,
would be
that's
there.
a Secretary song for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I did only mention 4 because I'm looking back. He said Def Leppard. I picked Let's Get Rocked, that one from the next album out.
Oh yeah.
Let's get
That's bad too.
rocked.
Yeah.
That one, that's what I had at number 5. So I just realized, yeah, I did miss one, but that's it. Another same band, but different song. Same,
I
same
love
kind of
Def
idea.
I love Def Leppard. I love, On Through the Night. I got into them when On Through the Night came out. I was still in high school and On Through the Night. And then,
High and Dry.
High and
Dry was my
what an
starting
amazing
point.
record, saw him a couple times on that tour. I liked the one afterwards,
Pyromania's good. Yeah.
great songs on that. And then, they just went, but Pour Some Sugar, it just got played so much. It's like, and it's that kind of song. It's just one of those annoying songs, so that's my number 5. My number 4 is by a band I really like, but Jack, you may relate to this a little bit. When you live on Long Island, you basically, BAB is your radio station.
Not anymore.
Well, they killed this song for so bad because I always used to hear it, and it's from a record I really love and a band I really love, but I just don't like the song, and it got really played out besides. And I know a lot of people, if Butch was here, he'd be crucifying me right now, but it's Beautiful Girls by Van Halen. I just hate that song. I love the rest of that record. I love it. That song drives me bananas. And super overplayed on the radio,
Right.
at least on WBAB, like in Long Island back in the day when I lived
Yeah.
there, drove me nuts. So
Ooh la 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 la.
yeah, it's just
Well, if we have time after Pete goes, I'll talk to you about BAB a little bit. But yeah.
Okay, so there's my number 3 again was a guy I loved for a really long time, and it was in one of the greatest, metal bands ever. But I can't listen to Crazy Train anymore, man. I hear the I and I'm reaching for the dial. I'm tired. I'm kind of tired of Ozzy. I'm kind of tired of the sound of his voice. If I go back and listen to Sabbath, I listen to the Dio records or like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, because a lot of their songs got so played out, and God knows I loved them when I was a kid, and I still do. It's just, Crazy Train is just like, it's so played out. And again, when it came out, I loved it. I was in love with Randy Rhoads playing, and I Don't Know and Crazy Train and Revelation Mother Earth, all those songs, I love them, but I just can't hear Crazy Train anymore. I just shut it off. So I know I'll get a lot of guff for that, but whatever. It was a great song. I loved it. I'm just
I agree
tired.
with you. It is played to death. Yeah.
It's played to death. It's like, that's the signature Ozzy. And like I said, the first 1,000 or 5,000 times I heard it, thought it was great. And then it got to like, okay, can we play something?
Enough is enough, right? Yeah.
Enough is enough.
Yeah. What else you got, right?
Yeah. So my next one is a record I liked when it came out, and now I just can't listen to them ever again. I'm just so tired of them. And pick one from that record. There's a bigger one, but "Come As You Are" by Nirvana. I just can't. I can't. They play it so much here on the radio on KLOS. And when I first heard it, I thought, wow, it reminds me of "Killing Yourself to Live" by Black Sabbath. It's got that same sort of guitar sound, same sort of groove. And I like Nevermind for the first 1,000 times I heard it, and then just like, okay, but that song, especially that's always the one they play here in LA on KLOS. And I just, again, reach for the dial, like, no more of that. So that's my number 2. And my number 1 is another band that I liked the record when it came out. And as soon as I hear that, "Welcome to the Jungle," I got to turn it off. I can't listen to it anymore. I like that record when it came out. It was refreshing for, the genre of music that they came out of. And it was a great record, but I can't, that and "Sweet Child of Mine," I can't listen to those songs anymore. There's a couple on those records I still can, but in general, it's like anything from that first GNR album is just like, oh, because you heard every song, but that one is specifically. So that's my number 1. So.
Well, thank you for mentioning that song, because that was on my list too. And now I'm going to pick something else. Because I never need to hear "Welcome to the Jungle" ever again.
Yeah, it's not like it wasn't good when you heard it the first.
I liked it when it came out. I liked that album a lot when it came out. Man, it's rammed down my throat long enough. I had an ex-girlfriend who played Guns N' Roses like every hour of every day, like for the year and a half I was with her. And yeah, I'd never need to hear that album ever again. So yeah, no good. All right. So my, whatever, number 5, 1 doesn't really matter. This particular song, I love this album. And I would say all of mine that are on my list, I kind of like these songs at some point. But I've been sick of most of these for a long time. So, and my first one here is "You Shook Me All Night Long" by AC/DC. God, never need to hear it again. It's, it's just, man, it's like, it's on the radio, it's on satellite, it's played at weddings, it's played at sporting events. People are playing in the parking lot if you go to see the band. It's just like, you just can't escape it. And I know most people are going to say, well, it's played so much because it's a great song. It's like, yeah, it's catchy, it's got hooks to die for, but I've heard it like, 10,599 times. I don't want to hear it for that 10,600 time. I just don't. I've had it with that song. I've had it with that song 30 years ago. And it's like, we've all been listening to that song and that album since 1980 when Back in Black came out. It's like I
81.
don't need to hear it ever again.
81.
I give me the song, the title track to that album any day of the week, and I'm okay with it. But man, Shook Me All Night Long. Ugh,
Hell's
just
Bells. Hell's
yeah.
Bells. Wait, yeah.
Have a
Happily
drink
listen.
on me.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Back in Black.
Ugh. Back in
Another
Black is great, yeah. But You Shook Me. Oh my God.
Even Back in Black is overplayed, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is, but not as much as Shook Me All Night Long.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, but
God.
what a fun song that is, riff that is to play on guitar, Back in Black.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a fun song to play.
That is. Yeah, the song's got so much groove, and that riff is just addicting. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
so good. So
It
good.
was a great mixed album. I love the way it sounded.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. One of the biggest sounding albums of all time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
My number 4. I love this band. Love this band to death, and it just irks me to no end that like the end of every single show they play, they've got to play this song. I fucking hate it. I never really liked this song as much as I love this band. Living After Midnight by Judas Priest. I hate it.
I thought you were going to say You've Got Another Thing Coming.
I don't like that
that's
either,
my-
Jack, and I don't like Breaking the Law either. You know what? I
Okay.
like almost everything that Judas Priest has ever done. I just don't get into those 3 songs, but specifically, I can deal with the other 2. But man,
Right.
Living After Midnight, ugh,
Interesting.
Did you like it when it first came out?
not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I loved it when it first came out.
I
I
like
was
it.
never a big fan. I liked Breaking the Law a lot when it first came out. I never really need to hear that anymore either.
Yeah.
But man, Living After Midnight, ugh,
I was
cringe, man.
already
I'm ready to
fan.
leave when they play it. I'm like, I don't even.
I was already a big fan even before British Steel came out. So when Living After Midnight, I first heard it on the airwaves, I was really excited. But it was You've Got Another Thing Coming that really got overplayed for me.
Yeah, I don't like that
Me-
either. And I don't like United either.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like the big anthems, the sing along
I like
songs.
no, I like Judas Priest a certain way, and I don't like
Yeah.
that kind of sing along crap.
Rapid
Okay.
fire.
There's
See,
certain bands I like that from. There's certain bands that should not be doing stuff like that. You know, it made them a lot of money, and I get it. Everybody loves it, but I don't have to, and I don't. So that's my number 4. My number 3, and again, I love this band. I used to really like the song a lot, and then it just, I don't remember when it started to just really go sour for me on Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin.
I knew that was coming.
I get why everybody loves it. I get why I used to love it. But when they started playing it on every freaking commercial and you just, everywhere you turn, I mean, I love Bonzo's drumming on it. It's a song that I should love to death. And I did like it 35 years ago. Now, for me, it's almost like I want to somehow take it off of my Led Zeppelin 4 album so I don't have to hear it when I play the album all the way through because I don't want to hear it. And I very rarely skip songs when I'm listening to CDs because I like to play them start to finish. And I'm not a shuffle guy, but man, when Rock and Roll comes on, next, sorry, don't like it.
Wow.
I feel
classic
that way
song.
about Heartbreaker. Heartbreaker and Live and Love and Made. I'm just tired of hearing them.
Yeah.
And great again, 35 years ago when you were like it was new to you kind of, or 40 years ago. Yeah. Although the ending of the drum ending of Rock and Roll is still amazing. But yeah, I get it.
I'm still in awe with the vocals. I'm like to me, he's my hero. So I understand when you play something so much that it kind of wore the good feeling that you had to it because you know it wore its out. I don't know, I guess.
Yeah.
But
And,
to
you know,
me,
there's a
not
lot of
that
Zeppelin
one,
songs
not
that
that
are
one,
played
yeah.
a lot, but I just and I get what you're saying, Rick. There's everything in that song I should absolutely love, but it's just been rammed down my throat for just too many times. But yet I still can listen to Black Dog. I still can listen to Whole Lot of Love. I love the Immigrant Song. I never would shut that off. I even will sit through Kashmir and Stairway to Heaven and not turn it off. But when Rock and Roll comes on, next, I don't know what it is.
That's so funny, and that's the beauty of why we all have different musical tastes. Like
Yep.
Right.
I don't mind rock and roll. I think Black Dog was played to death when I was in middle school. You know,
There you
and
go.
all the teenage girls who were trying to be cool because they listened to Led Zeppelin would sing that on the way to class.
Well, it's kind of cool that Pete would mention one of the songs, Black Dog, is one of his all-time favorite camp. not sick of it. And the same album, the song right next to it is one of his songs he doesn't.
I know, right? Go figure.
That's poor you when you have to start with the first song is Black Dog in that order.
Yeah, I don't know. Go figure.
Anyway, that was fun.
Yeah. All right, my number 2 is, let's see here. All right, I had 3 songs picked by this band, and I'm gonna just pick one of them. I feel like picking 2 of them, but I'm not gonna do that. So
Journey.
no,
It's your show. You can do it.
I know what he's gonna pick.
the band is Yes, and the song is "Seen All Good People."
Yeah, I knew it.
Okay.
I wanted to pick Roundabout because I would never need to hear that
that's
again
what I
either.
thought it was gonna...
But here, Roundabout is a great song. I'm not knocking it. I just never need to hear it again. I have never been a fan of "Seen All Good People." That's, to me, that's not. I don't want to hear Yes doing stuff like that. I don't know what it is. I just never really liked it. And again, it's another one of those songs that you go to see Yes, and you get the casual Yes fan that goes to Yes concert, and they play things like "Awaken" and "South Side of the Sky," and they're kind of sitting there like. But as soon as "Seen All Good People" comes on, woohoo! They're jumping up and dancing all over the place, and throwing the hoe down. And it's like I'm like sitting there like, really? It's like you probably don't know any of these other songs, and you came here just to hear that. And then we'll wait a couple songs, they'll play the other song, and that's Roundabout. So I don't know. I just "Seen All Good People" I just don't get into. I lost my love for that years and years and years ago. So nope. Was I right? You thought I was going to pick that?
I thought you were going to pick Roundabout.
No, I knew you were going to pick that one.
One of the two.
It was one of the two. I couldn't decide. I had them both written down.
Roundabout to me, my friend, I told my friend I was doing the show, and he watches the show, and he says, "I know you're going to pick." He said "Roundabout" by Yes, and I go. The thing about Roundabout is, I love it. It's one of the songs I still listen to because there's so much amazing musical wizardry going on in that song between the vocal refrain at the end and that amazing bass line. It's like, there's so much to listen to. It's like, it's not like it's a repeating, like Living After Midnight type of thing.
Right.
Or even I've Seen Good People. They repeat a lot,
Yeah. That's a more of a repetitive song. Although that song has different parts, and that song doesn't bother me much, and that's my favorite Yes album is the Yes album. So
I like that album too.
Yeah, it's a skippable song now at this point.
Yeah. I think I agree with you about Roundabout. I think it's a really cool, well-constructed song.
Yeah.
I sometimes look back on, well, what was that moment that Roundabout like really turned me off? And I think it's when I went to see them at Madison Square Garden. I don't remember what tour it was. It was in the 90s. And they played like a reggae version of it. And I was like, absolutely ruined it for me. And I was like, I was already getting tired of the song at that point as it was. And then they did that. And I was like, I'm off this train right now. Sorry, Roundabout. I am leaving you behind at the station. So that's it. So, yeah. And my number one, let's see. I got a couple left here. Which one am I going to choose? All right. I think I'm going to go with, is it Kiss or is it Lynyrd Skynyrd?
Come on.
Don't do Kiss.
All right. All right. I'm gonna pick Lynyrd Skynyrd today. "Sweet Home Alabama." Never need to hear it again.
I had a feeling that would surface tonight.
Never. I love Lynyrd Skynyrd to death.
Yeah.
And I can still even listen to Freebird, but man, "Sweet Home Alabama," I'm completely done with.
3 chords. The whole song.
Yeah, and it's cool, and it's catchy as all hell, and it's an anthem, and I get it, and I used to really dig it a lot, but you come to a point where like I said, I've heard it 5,899 times, and I don't want to reach 5,900. I'm done. I love all their other stuff. I can hear anything else I can hear. I know a little, and all the other great stuff. Great stuff. But man,
it's funny though whenever I play gigs, people jokingly yell out "Freebird," and I'm always just like, "Don't fucking say it, because I'll do it," and I know it, and I start playing it. I'm like, "Don't say it if you don't want to hear it," because I do know how to play it, and I fucking will play it. I'll play it for 5 minutes.
You got to be on the ride for 11 minutes, right?
Yeah. Sorry, don't do it. I have an interesting idea though. I want to bring out about this topic. It's something that I've done myself. Sort of like a little homework assignment, but not really. But for those bands that you loved and that song that you love, like say Roundabout, right? When you listen, when you hear when it comes on the radio, your first inclination is to reach for the dial and turn it off, right? Like put it on something else. If you're listening to Sirius XM or whatever, and just like, switch the station. Let me find something cooler. When I find with some songs like this, when you go at home with headphones and listen to them on purpose, you actually get the, oh, this is a great song thing. Sometimes when you take these songs, like I'll take Crazy Train and put it in headphones and probably be like, yeah, this is still awesome. It's just when you don't want to hear it and you're always forced to hear it from the radio or the outside forces or the band playing it as the encore, it is annoying because everybody's like, woo, Crazy Train or whatever it is, Roundabout, All Good People. When you go back and listen to these super classic overplayed songs on your own stereo and your headphones, sometimes it actually comes back and you go, okay, well, I don't hate it anymore. Sometimes. But
so that's kind of like the concept of like listening to it when you're ready to hear it and not when it's just randomly fed you, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. Even when you get those remixes, like Jimmy Page put out the new remastered, and I'm almost rediscovering this album because of all these things I didn't hear that was buried in the mix, and you're re-loving the music all over again. But the headphones is the way to do that. It makes you really appreciate so much of the definition. And not only that, I find that, and especially you too, Jim, probably, is that now I don't just listen to a song, I'm analyzing how they mix it or how it's done. I find myself doing that all the time. So now I have a whole new learning thing, is that I don't just listen to music to roller skate to like I did when I was a kid. Now I'm analyzing it like it's science and trying to figure out the formula. So they
I listen
double
to
the voices
all
here.
music
All
that way.
Yeah.
Music is just me deconstructing. Oh, that drum sound, they did this. That guitar sound, he's probably playing this. And, as a guy who produces music on the regular, all the time, the deconstruct, it's kind of ruined the listening experience in a way because you immediately go into deconstruction mode. Like, what guitar is he playing? What amp is he playing?
Yep.
What do the drums sound like? That is it's a blessing and a curse.
I agree.
But yeah.
Yeah, and that's very true. And what's interesting too, another aspect is that, when we've done these types of shows before where we talk about overplayed songs and all that kind of stuff, there's a portion of our viewing audience that did not grow up with radio. Like the younger folks who, radio really hasn't been a major force in our listening habits for a long time. Now, most people, they do, Spotify and, or whatever, however they stream their music, and they're basically in charge of what they listen to. So there are a lot of people that they'll listen to a discussion like this and like, well, why, how can it be overplayed? Why don't you just listen to what you want to listen to? But for folks in our age group, we grew up with radio. That's, you went out and bought records based on what you heard on the radio. And of course, then you would listen to, albums front to back or whatever, however you wanted to. But everybody still listened to radio. I mean, that's what we had in the cars, in the home, in the kitchen. I mean, radio was...
That was our source of music.
Right. And then MTV, right, with videos, right?
Jim mentioned WBAB earlier.
Yes.
So now back in the late 70s, early 80s, so there was three mainstays. There was WNEW, WBAB, and what was the WLIR, which to me was the best because that was the most cutting edge, and they were always trying to play a lot of the newer stuff. Now
they were like a new wave station for the most part.
Yeah, I mean,
WPLJ though. I thought PLJ was the best of them.
Yeah, but
late 70s.
They claimed to be New York's best rock, but I thought they were very limited. And then, unfortunately, that's what WBAB became years later, where I would commute and I'd have them on, and it seemed like they would always play the same 20, 25 songs. So then I got Sirius XM radio, and it was like a shot in the arm because you could, if I was in the mood for the 60s, I could hear that, or the 70s, or the 80s. If I wanted to hear classic rock, if I wanted to hear later classic rock, then you're listening to classic rewind, it's called.
Yeah.
And then and it's funny. There was this dog show out at Suffolk Community College, and that I brought my dog to. I don't know if anybody heard her barking before, but it was pissing me off.
I did.
Uh,
He's disagreeing with you, by the way.
Yeah,
well,
about Cheap
anyway,
Trick
so
and Peter Frampton.
He's telling you
anyway,
that Frampton and Cheap Trick are awesome, and you're,
That's right. That's right. He said you surrender. No.
yeah.
but anyway, so I'm at this pet show at Suffolk Community College with my dog, and WBAB actually has a tent there, in the gym there. So I said to the guys, I'm like, could you guys explain to me why it seems like you play the same 20, 25 songs over and over again ad nauseum? And of course he went into his corporate shtick. Oh, well,
Yeah.
what was it?
Ratings,
Studies have
ratings.
showed that people only listen to the radio for maybe 1 hour a day, and when you're done listening, maybe in the next hour somebody else will be listening, and the songs will still be fresh to them. I'm like, you're full of shit.
It's
Yeah,
easier
they're
for
all
them to
owned by the same
program.
company now.
Yeah.
It's eliminating DJs. They just have a playlist and let's let it go.
Yeah. I will say though, back in like the mid to late 80s into the early 90s in the New York area anyway, NEW, PLJ, and BAB, to me anyway, were probably the best radio stations, but I think their best days were already behind them, because I was living still in the Hudson Valley. I wasn't working in New York City yet or whatever, or living on, because I lived on Long Island for a few years in the late 80s. But that was still semi-decent radio, but that I think once the 90s came around, that all changed quite a bit.
I got to tell you, Pete, when we were at Newport's, I really enjoyed WPDH.
It was
I thought
great
it was
back then.
fresh at that time.
It was great back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Detroit is still surviving, but it's coming down to maybe 3. But when I was a kid, the very Bob Seger Live Silver Bullet was done by W4 106 FM, and then we had a Riff, the home of rock and roll, famous for breaking a lot of great acts that we appreciate today, Grand Funk and so on. And then you had a radio station that's actually called WLLG, We Love Led Zeppelin. I mean, it goes to show you what they play. All simply long track. They didn't care. And they weren't commercialized, yet they had a lot of sponsors. And then we also had a couple of great classic rock radio stations. But today, it's still surviving. They're a dying breed. But from being 6 to 7 all my life, they're down to 3 right now. So I lived the best years of Detroit radio, in my opinion.
That's cool.
Yeah. Classic rock radio is now late 80s and 90s.
I know.
Nirvana and
20 years
Pearl
ago.
Jam.
That's the other thing about BAB. That's what they seem to be playing a lot more of.
That's all over. Yeah.
That's you out here. And it's a bummer because, now where am I going to hear Blinded by the Light on the radio? Probably number 6 on my list of songs that I could listen to for the rest of my life and never get tired of.
I'm with you right there. Yeah.
Part 2 on this.
They don't play it on the radio anymore. I used to hear it on the classic rock radio stations. Now classic rock is freaking Home Sweet Home and, Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. And it's like, that's
REM and
I think the best you're going to get is Sirius XM 26 classic vinyl.
Yeah, that's classic vinyl's good, and the
Deep
cuts is pretty good. Ozzy's Boneyard, I get really mad at Ozzy's Boneyard because they literally play "Living After Midnight," "Rock You Like a Hurricane," and it's like, come on, guys. You get Jim Florentine has a great show on there, and he plays all the great underground early '80s metal. But there's 2 DJs on there. It's just like listening to FM rock radio now. They play all the same boring songs that everyone plays.
Very
and they
predictable.
don't hear anymore. And it sucks. It's like I write to them constantly on their Facebook page, like, can you please play some, we're paying for this. Can you please play something cool? Because we're paying for this. It's not, you don't have to sell ads to us. We're paying for this. It's free, right? Because we subscribe and you get the same,
To say they lost me.
And all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I always have to bring CDs with me, man.
Yeah.
I can't rely on the music out there no more.
Yeah.
But Sirius is what Ozzy's Boneyard is actually what got me into Accept. Believe it or not.
Okay. Well, you never heard Accept before that?
Well, not really. I listen to Priest and Maiden primarily, and and some of the other less known metal bands, but
Right.
Except, never really heard them until the early days of Ozzy's Boneyard, and then I think he ruined it.
Yeah, it's just this. This is two DJ. I won't say their names, but they sound like those guys on FM radio.
Yeah.
And they're like Judas Priest, and then they play Living After Midnight. It's like, do you know that like they released one of the best albums of their career like last year, whatever, 2018, and they don't play anything from it. It's like,
Of course.
Firepower, like every song on there is amazing. They don't play it,
Yeah.
Yeah, before I canceled my Sirius subscription, like if you heard Sabbath, you heard Iron Man, Paranoid. Maybe if you're lucky, you heard Children of the Grave and Heaven and Hell. That's it. If you heard, yeah, exactly right. War Pigs. Yeah. If you heard, Led Zeppelin, it was the same 3 songs. If you heard Iron Maiden, it was the same 2-3 songs. Then they were, instead of hearing like some really cool, deeper cut Ozzy stuff, you would hear Crazy Train, or you would hear No More Tears, and not much else. It's just like, oh, guys, come on,
Corporate America, gotta love it.
Yeah.
And, you would think with everybody. With everyone's able to just listen to whatever they want now in the car because they got streaming and they got, MP3 players and, their own. You would think they would be like, okay, well, we could branch out a little bit because people probably listen to some of these other songs from those albums, but nobody takes the chance. They play the same 10 songs.
Yeah,
and it's like, stop it.
In fact, Tom Petty put an album out called The Last DJ about that. You're not going to hear any freedom of music anymore. They're going to tell you what you want, you're going to hear, and that's enough. And you would think with, like you point with well taken, you would think if you're providing me a service, then don't make me go have to look for something I already have. Give me something I might not have.
Right.
That's what I love about this channel. And you know what? That's why Pete has this fan club and all these people watching this channel. He could really link hearing about things that we're not going to hear and relying on the radio. And that's why it is. They could do the new discovery about things that you wish they did that service for, like they did once upon a time.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Jack, I just want to tell you right now, your dog is pooping on your rug because you don't like Cheap Trick and Peter Frampton.
Well, I didn't
Go in the other room, you'll see. Your dog just went and pooped on the rug.
And he said, do you feel like we do?
Jim, she hasn't pooped in this house in 9 years. So
you wait. You go in the other room. She was barking because
she's like, Daddy, I heard you making fun of Peter Frampton. Come on, he's my idol.
Well, imagine my disappointment after hearing "Show Me the Way" and "Baby I Love Your Way" to go to this 15-minute thing where he's playing 3 chords over and over. What are you going to do? Well,
the dog just threw up on the rug too. So
lifting his leg right about now.
Yeah,
we can't all like the same thing.
No, that is true.
I still like you, Jack. You're still cool.
We all hear things differently, right? That's the way it goes. So,
hey, think of it this way: Chris Alla wasn't here tonight, so somebody had to be the heavy, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I can imagine what Chris Allo's would be on this.
I know, right?
It would be funny, whatever it is. So
no hold back, that guy.
Well, Chris Allo and a bunch of the guys are out enjoying Cradle of Filth in New York City. That's why they're not here tonight. So maybe we'll hear all about that in 2 weeks. We won't have any Hudson Valley Squares next week because I will be in Maine on vacation. So no show next week, guys. Hopefully I have something else programmed for you, but we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Hopefully with some of the rest of the crew. But I want to thank Jim and Rick and Jack for filling in tonight and providing some fun and laughs and good discussion about songs. So in the comments below, please put down some of the really overplayed hits that you still really like a lot and some of those hits that you never need to hear again. So thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter, of course. We're here on this thing we call YouTube all the damn time. Jack Toledano, Rick LaBonte, and Jim Bacchi. I am Pete Pardo. See you all real soon. Take care.
Take care.